life, people always felt comfortable talking to me about sex. And it wasn't like, oh, you have a lot of sex, so I feel comfortable. People didn't need to know my background. And even to this day, I don't have to tell people like, oh, I'm a sex educator. People are just comfortable. And it's something that whether it's, an energy or they just feel comfortable talking to me. And so lots of times I have people reach out, whether it's via the email or they want to sit down and have a conversation, and they have, no pun intended, kinks in their sex lives or the way they feel about themselves, or these things, this conflict that they're having with their sexuality versus what society expects of them. And they ask questions. And if I'm not one of those people to blow smoke up people's butts. So if I don't have the answers,
unless that's their king.
Well, unless that's their thing, right? I mean, that's a whole nother show. But if people have questions and I don't have the answers, I am more than willing to go and do the research or ask my peers, my colleagues in the field, if they have any good resources for people. It's really about doing whatever makes you happy in a safe environment. You're not hurting yourself. You're not hurting someone else. You're doing things that are legal. And that's pretty much what it boils down to. So I'm not really surprised. I've heard it all. A lot of stuff.
Repetitiously.
Yeah, and I think that's the most amusing part for me is because sadly, for a lot of situations, I'm bound by confidentiality.
Yeah. But
I hear a lot of the same things, and it's always followed by people feeling like they're alone. Like, oh, I'm probably the only one who does this, or, I'm so stupid for doing these things, or whatever the case be. And then the next person sits in a seat, or we have a conversation, and they repeat the same things. The reality is if you really feel alone, the odds are you're not, especially in the field of sexuality.
Well, this actually broaches a subject that we talked about, or I talked about with our friend George Gorner on, I believe it was George's show, the Cabaret. For whatever kink there is out there, or no matter what it is that separates you or segregates you you think, oh, I'm all alone in this. There's 100 other people with a website that's producing whatever it is that's making you excited.
Absolutely. I try to simplify it. Just, a lot of times people think that there's something wrong with them. Like if they're not having, monogamous, heterosexual, missionary sex, that there's something wrong. And it all boils down to the same thing. And by the rules of psychology, by legality, if you are not harming yourself, if you're not harming someone else, and it doesn't affect your daily function, like you can have a job, you can hold relationships, then you can sniff as many nylons or lick as many toes or get whipped as many times as you feel comfortable, as long as you're in a safe environment, you're not harming other people, you're not breaking laws, and it's not interfering with your daily function.
Well, we're going to stop right there because I got another whole conversation that I could bounce off just that. We're going to take a break. We're going to go listen to Beyond Blonde, Bearing My Bones. You're listening to My Night Out Radio.
Really?
You're listening to My Night Out Radio on Rhode Island Free Radio. We'll be back in a minute.
Well, I can be a selfish bitch, strong and to the point. I don't think before I speak, telling all my thoughts. Well, I can be confused, no, I can't always tell. I can be insecure, impatient as all hell. I contradict, I'm unaware, sometimes I lie. Always get the job done, baby, every single time. Sometimes I'm depressed. Just like everybody, I only want the best. Surrounded by stupidity, well, that's hard to take. Turning on my Bible, that's how I escape. I contradict, I'm unaware, sometimes out of line. Always get the job done, baby, every single time. Bury time, yeah. Burying my bones, yeah. Well, I can be comical, crazy and a flirt, but I've never crossed the line. No, that just wouldn't work. I wrote this song to keep it light, down on country flair, to bear my bones for all to see. If anyone should care, I contradict, I'm unaware, sometimes out of line. Always get the job done, baby, every single time, yeah. Burying my bones, yeah. Burying my bones, don't you know? Burying my bones with soul. I'm burying my bones, yeah.
Welcome back, my night outers. George, you've been awful quiet lately, and I can understand, you know, it's kind of hard getting back on the pony if you're falling off. You know,
Back in the saddle.
that's it. Speaking of saddles,
I
Alicia?
just want to say that this is where Tony Jones said we have to go hard on the
Yes.
conversation. So
go hard in the conversation. We have to finish it up
Rapid
in a few
fire.
minutes, so we you know, just hit the points that we really want to hit.
I like that.
Yeah, it's fun.
Don't beat
one
around the bush.
Right.
Get right to the point,
Find a spot and get to it.
choke down on it,
There you
and
go.
take care of business.
Yeah.
But anyways,
How am I the only one not going in on all these puns?
age.
Still need experience.
So, some of this stuff is from the 50s that we're joking about. But one of the things that I wanted to bring up, and one thing that you really were emphasizing, was being, you know, safe, sane, and consensual, which is, if you follow B&D, S&M, it is almost their mantra.
It is, absolutely. Yep.
You know, if you're at any point uncomfortable, not feeling it, whatever the case is, just say no, or whatever. Some people have a safe word. Some people, it's just like, when it's not happening. Can you weigh in on a little bit, you know, would you personally use safe word, or what do you do, or what do you recommend?
So I would say that I personally have not been in enough BDSM situations personally, although I've been around them and I have a lot of knowledge about the behaviors that go along with it, or the rules and regulations. It's important to know that the BDSM community is a community that is really respectful. If you get to befriend people in the community and you want to experience things, they are awesome to go to and say, hey, I'm totally new to this. I have no clue what in the hell I'm doing. Please help. And they are more than welcome, more than willing to guide people and educate people. But it's important that you go in and you don't think you know everything. You don't, go off of what you see on 50 Shades or any of the other, commercialized things. It's really important to ask for consent. And in our daily lives as humans, so often consent is just tossed out the window. It's like you have to do things. We're so used to just touching people without asking, boundaries and limits, and questioning if people are comfortable with our actions. And that's something that I, was introduced to getting into the field of sexuality, because I used to just I just thought it was normal to do these things and continue with these behaviors. So it's important to know that all of those scenes that you hear about or possibly see if you happen to have the opportunity to be at a club that does BDSM or has a dungeon, those scenes are negotiated between people. They're people who usually have an extensive knowledge, not necessarily in the field of, or in the world of BDSM, but with one another. They've had conversations outside of that scene.
They know each other's tolerances, limits.
Those are things that are important to have and be discussed ahead of time. I think that spontaneity is sexy, but it's not necessarily always safe.
Improvisation when you're whipping someone with something is not usually
Right,
a good
not
thing.
a good idea.
Well, another scene that I'd like to broach is the swinging scene, where you have two married couples or several married couples getting together, and basically the same thing. It's a lot of permission, but swapping wives, swapping husbands, swapping each other's partners. Can you weigh weigh in on that.
I actually have had the pleasure of going to a local swingers club.
Okay.
We'll
get the address off the air.
later. So actually, the address is private, and it's a private club. And it's a really fun place to be. It's a great group of individuals. I know the owners, but I've also had the pleasure of attending a few different events. And it's the same idea as a BDSM scene or facility. You go in, you meet people, you're having discussions with them. They were all so warm and welcoming, and this is still while everybody has their clothes on. And you have discussions like, oh, how was your day? And what do you do for work? And that's cool. And you build that respect for one another. And that also builds the trust that you need to be engaging in these types of, behaviors and or situations. And we chatted up. There's a few drinks. Something happens. Next thing you know, everybody's naked, which is wonderful because I'm a total voyeur. I personally didn't get naked. But I got to watch. But people were very respectful.
Not even a little.
No, but I had a really small dress on. Most of the time I'm half naked anyways, so taking it off.
Not arguing that's a very good thing to do.
So, and people were very, very respectful of my boundaries too. Like, hey, you're new. I'm interested in you this way. Are you okay with that? I could voice whatever opinion I had on it. And they would, they were very respectful. I didn't want to play that night. It was my first time there. And they were like, okay, but I just want you to know that, I'm attracted to you. And if you change your mind, let us know. The thing that I love the most about swingers clubs is that it is totally not what people would think. So a lot of times people are like, oh, you probably have these old dilapidated couples and they just have lost the spark. And they've lost the spark, and that's why they're going there, to get laid. And that's not it at all. I see so many couples who are so in love, and these guys get off on watching their wives be pleasured by someone else. And to me, that's fascinating because that's exactly how my brain functions. And I'm like, this is awesome. It gives me hope as an individual that someday I can find someone and experience these things with, because that's my expectations for a relationship.
Very cool. Well, I got to say thank you. It's been a complete pleasure to have you on the air with us.
Thank you for having me on.
It's been one of the more interesting episodes that we've done. I can assure you, this one will go down in the books.
And this was just the tip.
How'd I know it was going to go there? Anyways, once again, if you want to catch us on Facebook, MyNightOut Radio.
Don't, because I just canceled them.
Well, we still have MyNightOutRI.com for local events. If you want to hit us up, give us some of your music to play on the air, or if you just want to be on the air, send us a message, MyNightOutRadio@Verizon.net. We're going to leave here with the Cantnots, The Big Oh No.
Fine, it's nothing more than lies, but that's only an ugly word when you make it seem that way. I'm reading between the lines, I'm searching for the signs hidden in this endless day. Fine, it's nothing more than time, well, I'm just taking mine before it turns into fine. It's nothing more than time. Well, I'm just taking mine